we meet Cancer, Cancer sun sign, rising sign, and or moon sign. This is a 2-week reading for all you Cancer starting today, the 16th of February, 2024. I'm Ariel Gatoga, and we are streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch. Moderating on YouTube is the lovely Delene, and moderating on Twitch is the lovely Beryl, or maybe it's the lovely Dre. I can't quite tell. But thank you so much, moderators, and thank you to all you Cancers and friends of Cancers for joining us today. I'm reading with this lovely new deck. This is my second time reading with this. I did the maiden voyage just a second ago. The Paulina Tarot. Thank you to the person on Discord for showing me this deck. And I've already purified with this Florida water, so I put it in a spray bottle there. That's what that's for. And you can find the links to purchase this deck and the Florida water right in the video description of this video on my YouTube channel. If you're watching us on YouTube on a restream and you don't want to watch me shuffle, just use the timestamps. It's pretty easy. It's a lot easier to use the timestamps to skip to the reading rather than complaining about the shuffling. Anyway, what was I gonna say? I'm sorry, I just had to be a little bitchy there. It's not horrible. Even Ariel, even Ariel has the Queen of Swords. What was I saying? Oh yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. If you're watching on Twitch, you can follow us on Twitch, and you can watch on Twitch without any ads when you subscribe to us there. It does go out, this reading, to a lot of Cancers, so if for some reason it doesn't seem to ring true for you, don't force it. It's probably just not meant for you. It may not be your reading, and that does happen. So if that happens, just check out the zodiacal readings maybe for your other signs, sun sign, rising sign, moon sign. Or also remember, we have a general reading for all signs every day but Monday, and we have a weekly reading that comes out every Sunday, which is a pick a card reading. So check out all of the replays of the most recent readings on our website, arielscorner.com, arielscorner.com. You just click on the free online tarot readings link right in the main menu. If you'd like to give us a donation, you can do that by going to paypal.me/arielgatoga, paypal.me/arielgatoga. If you're on YouTube, you could use a super sticker, super chat, or super thanks if you feel like giving a donation. We do appreciate your support, but the main appreciation, Cancer, is you, that you're here for this 2-week reading, and I think you deserve one more shuffle, don't you? Let's do that. Give this a nice clean cut and see what's in the cards for all you gorgeous Cancers starting today. 2-week reading, February 16th, 2024. Okay, King of Cups, followed by the 9 of Cups, followed by the 8 of Cups. Super cuppy. It's a cuppa, and it's a beautiful reading. I love this reading for you. Cups are a great suit anyway, but they are such a great suit for a Cancer reading. You're doing so well with all. Look at this King of Cups. Isn't that a wonderful idea of all of that mastery that you're having over your own inner world, your own emotional world, spiritual world? This is a card of spiritual mastery. Now, of course, when I say spiritual mastery, that doesn't imply that I think that you're finished and that, you don't have to work on anything. It means that your focus is amazing. What you're focused on, what you're doing, how you're navigating your life, all of the wonderful things that you're accomplishing internally, which means that you're accomplishing them externally because one is the cause of the other. You have a lot to be acknowledging yourself for, especially knowing how challenging so many aspects of your life have been over the last several years. And the choices that you're making and the way that you're approaching and focusing on things is unbelievably astute and fabulous. Some of you are in therapy, some of you are doing meditation, some of you are doing magical work, some of you are doing there's all kinds of tools that could be being used that is indicated by this card. But the fact is that regardless of the tools that you're using, you are finding mastery. You're doing well. Lots to acknowledge. And I know with the King of Cups, one of the great things about tuning into this reading today is the King of Cups doesn't usually get as much acknowledgement as they deserve because it is all happening internally. right? So I can see what you're doing, Cancer. I got you. I got eyes on you, and you're doing great. So even if you don't think anybody is understanding you or understanding, how hard it's been and how far you've come and how well you're doing, I get it. I see you, and you're doing great. 9 of Cups, you should feel comfortable. You should feel satisfied. You should feel happy. You deserve it. You deserve it. Look at what you've done and how far you've come. I don't need to tell you that. You know this. You know this, and you deserve it, though. That is one thing I want to tell you, is that any satisfaction, any joy, any happiness that you're finding, it's your birthright to begin with, but you've also earned it. It didn't come out of nowhere. You've worked your tuchus off for this, and you've got this. You're doing great. You're doing so well. Now, the cool thing about this reading, too, is it's not just all of that wonderful message, but it's also that your intuition is heightened and enhanced. I'm trying to make a new word, heightened. It's enhanced and heightened as a result of all of this. So it's going to be self-perpetuating if you allow yourself to stay on the path. This is you being on that path, let's say. Staying on this path that you're on, not letting yourself get distracted from it, you are going to be guided each and every step of the way because your intuition is right on target. That you can trust the communications that you're getting internally. You can trust them because you've got that hotline right to your spirit guide, right to your inner teacher, and you're right on the mark. So I'm thrilled. Now, there may be some, why don't we just do this the right way, Ariel? There may be some other things that come up, but the base reading says, regardless of anything that might come up in this reading, you're on the right track. You're doing well, and you deserve a big hooray that you probably aren't getting because people don't notice. I do. All right. 5 of Wands, good. I like a good 5 of Wands. The Devil, good. I love it. 5 of Swords, very, very challenging. Very challenging. The 5 of Swords and the 5 of Wands, there's 2 different ways of dealing with conflict. The way you've been dealing with it is great. The way you've been dealing with it is amazing. Not suppressing it. Sometimes getting mad if you need to get mad. Everybody gets mad. Everybody gets angry. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a natural emotion. But what people do about that anger is the problem usually. You've been handling it, it says here, very well, very thoughtfully, very healthfully. Now, the Devil card, Devil can be temptation, and it can also be attachment. And I think what's happening is for this 5 of Swords, it comes in this where you're headed, like you're headed toward the 5 of Swords. And what to me this means is that you're still attached, this is attachment, to some old, outdated, outmoded ideas of what you deserve. Now, many of you have come from a history of abuse. Not all of you, but those of you that have come from that history of abuse, listen up. You may still be attached to those patterns. You may still be attached to those patterns. So you are automatically setting things up to recreate the past. It's just how we are. That's kind of how we're wired. Now, but the good news is that you've got this foundation of spiritual mastery here. And so you don't have to do that. What you do want to do is notice the tendency of maybe trying to do that so that you can decide against it. Because this intuition card here says that this is not necessary. This is not whatever place that you're headed right now based on trying to recreate the past. You can detach from that pattern immediately and change course. And I'm not even necessarily worried that you're headed toward that as much as that regardless of whether you're headed toward it now or not, you need to resolve whatever that abuse pattern was. so that it's not a thing that you keep bumping up against again and again and again. And that's part of all of this work that you're doing. But I think that the reason why I say it's unresolved is because you're so attached to it, you don't see what it is. You don't see it for what it is. I think there's some people in your past that you're still making excuses for. And I'm not saying that they were evil, bad, and they should be destroyed. It's just that you're making excuses for them is kind of giving permission to have that kind of thing happen again. So it's okay. You can love someone unconditionally, forgive someone completely, and still say, and that was wrong. And that behavior was absolutely wrong. I understand why it happened. I forgive you. I love you. I don't hold it against you, but with that. No way with that stuff, right? So just notice if that's you, and it's not for everybody, obviously, but notice if there is still part of you that's sort of making excuses for abusive kind of behavior or bullying kind of behavior or cruelty on any level. Making excuses for it is not the same as understanding it. I understand that they were coming from pain. I understand that that's the only thing that they knew. I understand all of that, but that's no excuse. I'm glad I understand it. It's super easy to forgive now because I understand it, but no, that will not ever be allowed in my life, ever again. Detaching from that, understanding that if you excuse that behavior, there's a difference between excusing it, making excuses for it, and forgiving it and understanding it. They're very different. They can seem the same, but they're very different. One protects you from it in the future, and the other one sets you up to recreate it in the future, right? And you know all of this because look at your spiritual mastery. Look at that intuition. Look at that spiritual mastery. Look at all of this happiness and this satisfaction and this joy that is yours right now. So it's really easy, especially coming from, the past that you've come from. I know that not everybody came from this level of abuse that some of you did, but none of you had a great, easy time of it at least over the past several years. I know that that's true. And you've come out with flying colors. So let's remind you of that. Let's acknowledge ourselves for that because you're not going to get the acknowledgement you want from a lot of other people, unfortunately. That's just how it is sometimes. But let's acknowledge ourselves for this, Cancer, right? We're going to acknowledge ourselves. We're powerful enough to do that and detach ourselves from the patterns. Detach ourselves. And sometimes, Cancer, sometimes that means detaching ourselves from the people. If you can't detach yourself from the patterns, if you can't detach yourself from that cycle, sometimes it means that you need to end certain relationships. That's not always the case. I'm not saying go out and end all your relationships, but you'll know, intuitively speaking, if it's time. Sometimes it is time for you to just say, this life is not for us to be together anymore. This is not the life where we have physical proximity anymore. We learned all we needed to learn, and now for the good of my well-being, and possibly even for yours, who knows, I'm going to detach from you. We're not going to have contact anymore, and you're not going to call me, and we're not going to speak, and I'm not going to see you anymore. But I do wish you well, I do love you, and I'm sure we'll see each other in another world and all will be well. It's just not going to happen in this world, right? And so sometimes that's exactly what's necessary. And so that's tough, I know, and it's not for all of you, but for those of you who that is the case for, I support you in that. I support you in having that kind of a boundary because your happiness is much more important than making excuses for those people. You're doing great, Cancer. I am so happy with you. It's such a beautiful, beautiful trend that you're starting. So keep it up. Don't allow anybody to infiltrate it either. This is the truth. The truth is that you deserve this happiness. You deserve this journey. And I know that it feels like a lonely journey sometimes because not everybody understands how far you've come and how well you're doing. But some do. Some do understand it. And I can definitely see it. All right. I'll be back in 2 weeks for another 2-week reading for you. Thank you so much to the amazing moderators, Delene and Beryl and Dre, and we will see you in 2 weeks, Cancer. Blessed be.